I find that people just usually don't realize it. They think they're planning a theme park vacation. What they're actually doing is making a series of decisions that will shape how they remember this trip for the rest of their lives. And the problem isn't that Universal can be complicated. The problem is that most people start in the wrong place. They start with tickets, or hotels, or whatever the internet is yelling the loudest about that week. But if I were planning my very first Universal Orlando vacation for 2026, I wouldn't start with any of those. Want to know where I would start? I'd start with why. Because once you understand why you're going, everything else finally makes sense.
Welcome back to Unlocking Universal, your key to all things Universal Orlando and beyond. Now here's your guide and unfair advantage, Holly.
If this were my very first Universal Orlando vacation, truly starting from scratch, here's the mindset I'd use. Not what I'd book first, not what I'd buy first, but how I'd think first. Because Universal has never been bigger, more detailed, or more overwhelming than it is in 2026. And the goal isn't to do everything. Look at me. I've been going to these parks since the beginning and I still haven't done everything. The point is to enjoy it. Oxford Language Dictionary defines the verb enjoy like this: to take delight or pleasure in an activity or occasion. More than anything else, I want you to take pleasure in, to delight in your visit to Universal Orlando, or Universal Hollywood, Universal Kids Resort, or Universal Horror Unleashed, as the case may be. So let's walk through this step by step. Step 1, define your why. Every trip has a goal, whether you realize it or not. And when someone can't quite figure out why planning feels stressful, 9 times out of 10, it's because they haven't defined what this trip is actually about. If I were planning my first Universal trip, this is where I'd start. Is this a once in lifetime visit? A first introduction for the kids? A celebration? Is it a we need a break mostly with a side of adventure? Or maybe a we'll be back probably, no pressure kind of trip? Because once you know why you're going, your priorities start to reveal themselves. Your hotel choices make more sense. Your length of stay makes more sense. What you do, and just as importantly, what you don't do, becomes clearer. You don't need the perfect answer. You just need an answer. And yeah, I hear it all the time. Holly, we have several reasons why we're going. And it can totally be a combination of things, but most often when you dig deeper, above and beyond, you're going to find one big why, bigger than all the others. Step 2, choose the right home base. Okay, so once I've nailed down my why, next I'm going to decide where I'm staying. And this is where a lot of people feel pressure because location sets the tone. This, of course, is about hotel choice. Where should we stay, on site versus off site? It isn't about right or wrong, it's about what's right for this trip. On site is almost always going to be my recommendation because it's almost always the best choice. One of the things I love about Universal Orlando is how close everything is. That proximity matters. And since we're talking about first timers today, it's especially important for first timers who may underestimate how much energy the parks take. For most of my first timers, I lean heavily toward location over luxury, or in the case of some offsite options, location over a small savings. Those seemingly lower priced options, just a little bit further away, they often end up costing you way more in the end, so I'm extremely wary of them. But that's another discussion for another day. Basically, being closer means easier mornings, easier breaks, easier nights, and a lot less friction overall. All good things. That said, offsite absolutely has its place. For example, large multi generational families that are traveling together, especially those who want to have a shared living space to hang out together on their non park days or maybe in the evenings or early mornings. A new option like Evermore Orlando Resort is an exciting addition to Universal's partner hotel portfolio. Why? Because Universal has lovely on site options for larger parties. It's true. But they're somewhat limited, and once you hit a certain size party, offsite can be more comfortable and more practical and just make more sense. The key to remember is this. Your hotel isn't just where you lay your head. It's not just where you're going to sleep at night. It shapes how your trip feels. Your hotel choice frames the rest of the trip. Step 3, park days before park tickets. If I could change one thing about how people plan Universal trips, this would be it. Before I'd ever think about what ticket to buy, I'd decide how many days I actually want to be in the parks. What do I want my time to look like while I'm on site? That also means considering any non-park or rest days now, not later. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on park days, check out episode 14 later. But for me, it's going to look like this. If you're going to all 4 parks, you need a minimum of 4 days. 5 is even better. If you're going to go to all 3 dry parks and leave Volcano Bay out this time, then you're going to need an absolute minimum of 3 days. 4 days, 5 days, even better. And yes, the or more is important to point out because revisiting parks is a good thing. And I promise you, it is truly not an upsell. It's a strategy. I am and will always be a fan first. Giving ourselves the ability to revisit parks is a gift. The overall pressure immediately lowers and it gives you that buffer to redo favorites and see new things too. It allows you to be present, and this is so important. Universal parks are rich. They're layered. They are incredibly detailed. Rushing through them turns this incredible immersion into a checklist. And you are never going to make those core memories between the lines of a spreadsheet, my friend. Let it go. And here's the big shift my peeps need to understand that really ups the game. In 2026, park hopping includes Epic Universe, with an asterisk, of course. That ability begins at 3 days or more, not 1 and not 2. With a 3-day or longer ticket, you can move seamlessly between Universal Studios Florida, Islands of Adventure, Volcano Bay if you choose to add it, and Epic Universe, all in the same day if you're really up to it. But you can go back and forth as much as you want. And considering those 1 and 2 day tickets, you can't do it. I advise you to really, really be aware because first off, these are the most expensive ways to visit any theme park. And the bottom line is they don't allow park hopping into or out of Epic Universe. Also, statistically, because I'm a statistics nerd, they also have the lowest satisfaction results in surveys. It's just not enough time. Don't set yourself up for failure. This is why determining park days comes in first before choosing the park ticket itself. Step 4, decide what you're not going to stress about. And this is where I encourage people to breathe. You do not need Express Pass to have a good Universal trip. Express can absolutely plus your experience, and I love it. I'm a fan, but it's almost never a requirement. You see the difference? Christmas, New Year's week, Easter break, 4th of July, various Monday with the long holiday weekends. You're going to find me recommending it much more strongly. But outside of the known high crowd times, it's a choice, not a necessity. You can hear more of my thoughts on Universal Express in episodes 18 and 30. If you have more days, Express becomes less critical. If it happens that you're traveling during a little sweet spot, less critical. If your priorities are clear, well, it could either be less or more critical. Why? Because we know our why. We figured that out first. Yes, Express Access now includes Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, and that is huge. You've heard me talk about it. But it still comes back around to your goals, your time, your party, and your budget. This is a hill I will plant my flag on. Some people say they'd never visit Universal without Express, implying that you shouldn't either, or that a good time cannot be had without using Express. And that's fine, because Express rocks. But understand that that's their preference. It's not a make or break rule. My goal here isn't to tell you what I would personally choose, because my trip is going to be different. My why is different. All the variables are different. I've been doing this a long time, and my goal is to take you on my thought process journey to give you the skills to help you make the best decision for your trip, whether or not that includes Express. Step 5, Leave room for the magic, people. This may be a hot take, and I don't know. Do we even do hot takes anymore? Well, anyway, I just did one. I don't believe in conquering theme parks. If you want to conquer an amusement park like Six Flags, great. That's an entirely different experience. But theme parks, they aren't meant to be conquered. They're meant to be enjoyed, for you to lose yourself in them and escape the real world. I assure you, the best moments don't live in the spreadsheets. They exist in knowing your why and making choices accordingly, slowing down, noticing the details, sitting with a butterbeer a little longer than planned and just taking it all in, having your priorities and then letting the day unfold. No one has ever found real joy between the lines of a perfectly optimized spreadsheet. If I were planning my very first Universal Orlando trip for 2026, my goal would not be to do everything. My goal instead would be to pick a handful of important things each day and to enjoy them fully. The rest is gravy. Because you know what happens in the room that you leave for magic? That, my friends, that's where those big memories are created. If you're starting to think about a Universal Orlando trip for 2026 and feeling overwhelmed, that's normal. This place is big, it's detailed, and it's worth doing thoughtfully. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who's deep in planning mode right now. And if you're ready to start shaping your own Universal story, you already know where to find us. Until next time, slow down, look around, and let the magic catch up to you. See you next time.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Now get out of here and go do something nice for someone.